All right, well, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin.
I'm Tarsha.
And this is, of course, Conversations with the Crawleys, where we have conversations about faith, family relationships, and recaps, reviews, and commentary on some of our favorite shows. This one is dedicated to season 5/6 of Ready to Love DC/Potomac edition. A lot of slashing in there because there's some unclarity. Listen, on Oprah, if you're watching and your team is watching, y'all got to clear up some stuff because we don't know if this is season 6 or 5. We've seen 6, but y'all saying it's 5. Y'all called it DC, but it's Potomac, which are two different places. But
when you're in the DC area, you're in the DC
everything counts as DC, even Baltimore.
Shut up.
All right, so if this is content that you'll enjoy, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like, request notifications.
And shout.
And of course, as always, we will see you, meet you, greet you. Hang out in the comments. Y'all know y'all keep us laughing, and hopefully we keep y'all laughing and enjoying because y'all keep coming back. Welcome back, squad. All right, so it's ladies. Oh, yes, it's ladies' night. And the feel. Listen, it's a party over here all the time. All right, ladies' lounge. It's the ladies' wine bar, I think he said this time.
Yeah, like we don't lounge. I'm just saying. But wine is fine.
Wine
so
is
we're
good.
fine.
Find the right wine. And so he tells them, okay, go out there, have dates, create activities that see if the guys fit into your life, right? Mm-hmm. See if they can fit into what you like to do. Mm-hmm. And he also, again, throwing curveballs, which now everybody knows they're coming, is 2 more blind dates.
Right.
And he sets Dakia up to go on the first one with
Correct.
the guy.
Correct.
So Dakia goes, her assignment is with Eric.
Yeah.
He's 44 and a celebrity chef.
Celebrity. Only celebrities.
Listen, he only cooking for the celebrities in DC, Maryland, Virginia.
Right.
I'm gonna leave that alone. All right. Yeah, because every city got their own celebrities.
They do.
Whether they're celebrities or not. All right. And he's a preacher's kid. Shout out to all the PKs.
PKs.
All right. He got married at 18.
Married in was better to marry than to burn.
Listen, he took Paul seriously. It's better to marry than to burn. He was like,
I'm
look.
18, I gotta get married if I'm gonna get my son. So he did.
But he's divorced now, of course.
Right. And they have 2 kids.
He has 2 grown kids. So
yes.
they're 21 and 27, something like that. So they're grown.
Yeah.
She is open to kids. She's never
had any kids.
Never had any kids.
Yeah.
But
she's okay with not having kids.
Right.
She's like, look, I'm 40. And she's like, I'm at this point where I could be fine if I don't have any.
The eggs are still there, but they're running out.
Right.
If they expire, oh well.
If they expire. Oh, well.
If they still there and it's time,
wow.
Good. That's kind of how she is. She's like, look, she's good with it either way, right? Like you said.
Right. And obviously the chances are higher, her having complications and everything to that. So it's something to talk about.
And applied to, or along with that, she does mention that she is 9 years cancer free. She had cervical cancer, but she's cancer free.
Yes.
They kind of connect on the fact that she's currently a systems engineer for NASA, so she doing all right for herself.
She's paid. And he used to be a systems engineer.
Right.
Now he decided to become a celebrity chef.
Right, finding his passion.
Yeah.
So they are vibing well.
Oh yeah, the connection is strong there.
Mm-hmm.
They're flirting.
Yeah.
So this might be one that Eric is like, okay, let me write your name down, your phone number. We're gonna do a second date, but he has to keep in his mind.
Right.
I'm gonna meet some more women on this journey. So pump the brakes. Mm-hmm. And he's trying to hold off and, thinking about only her to make sure he can meet all the other women, which is a good idea.
Right.
You got to.
The kid, on the other hand, is like, look, let me see if I can keep him in the pocket. Let me see if I can keep him to myself.
She's like, I've already seen all the options.
She's like, there's nothing else for you to worry about. Which, if you have the opportunity, put in their mind, the rest of them, nah, you don't want that.
Right. Because you are here to find love for yourself. Right.
Sisterhood and brotherhood is all good.
Hey.
But you finding it for yourself.
Exactly.
Clifton is the other person that is assigned to a date, and he goes out with AP.
Correct.
Now, I don't know what AP stands for. I don't think her parents named her AP.
You just never know nowadays.
You never know, true. But when she's 42, I don't know too many people that were naming their kids AP.
She probably got
42 years ago.
Like, you got a 1950 name or something.
Right. I mean, I know someone who is it, Travis Scott's child is named Wolf or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's a 2022 type thing. But I don't know about AP. So maybe we'll find out what AP's real name is.
Right. Right.
Or legal name is. She is a holistic life coach.
I don't know what I mean. She naturally life coaches, then modern life coach.
So she holistic. I think she is more the whole person. So she is
the whole person,
kind of dealing with the whole person of, you know, mind, body, soul,
gotcha,
emotions, all of those things.
Okay, I'm feeling it. Okay.
So that's what she does. So she was married for 10 years.
Correct.
And her husband died 5 years ago.
Yeah, she's a widow.
Yes.
There's a difference.
Right.
Than someone
who's divorced,
right? Because that person's still alive, right, but you just
decided that it wasn't going to work,
right,
for whatever reason. Right?
Correct. So with her, to me, I think people should recognize that when someone's in love and they lost the person that they love, I think sometimes it may be challenging for them because they worked through their marriage, they were staying married, and now she has to find another love without competing with memories.
There's a grief for a loved one who is lost, or you've lost a loved one, right?
Right.
There's a grieving process for that is different from grieving my marriage that didn't work.
Right.
And so for her, it is a matter of trying to make sure that one, she is ready,
right,
but two, also like you're mentioning, that whoever she does, you know, start to connect with, that there's not a competition, if you will, of her spouse that passed away.
Right. Speaking of competition, she's like, "You look like my brother."
Yeah. So she goes with Clifton. They meet at a vegan restaurant.
Ooh, that's a slice right there.
Well, it was a slice going to a vegan restaurant.
They're supposed to go to places, I'm assuming.
It was in her lifestyle, right?
In her lifestyle.
Okay.
So that's why it's the vegan restaurant.
Yes.
So, because she's vegan.
She's pescatarian. I'm meatitarian. All right. So we make it work.
Right. But when you're trying to be in someone's life, you have to realize that sometimes, like, you'll go to a restaurant, or you make sure when you pick a restaurant, there's options for both parties.
It's really easy to have options for
it
pescatarian people.
When you go to a
Kale
restaurant.
and coleslaw, you good.
Shut up. At you.
Anyway,
but I thought he was like, wow, she's attractive. Mm-hmm. He's having a good conversation, and then the brother vibes come out.
She's like, you look like my brother.
I'm like, dang. At least on the first day, let him think that possibly, but she's just like, let's just go ahead and cut to the chase.
Yeah,
we bros. You my big brother, because you remind me so much of my brother. And tell me about everybody else.
And here's the thing. To be honest, Clifton doesn't really need more options. I don't think. I think he's got some options.
Really solid options.
He's got some solid options. So it's not like he's heartbroken.
No,
but it was just a like, okay, well, if you cutting off the vibe, you're cutting off the vibe. If I'm giving you brother's vibes, I'm giving you brother vibes.
Right.
I'm good with that.
Right.
But it was just, and because there's another person that she kind of made a statement to, so it's like, okay, you just putting everybody into categories. You friend zoning everybody.
Right. Again, and that's why I brought up.
Yeah.
I thought it was important to bring up.
Yeah.
You're a widow.
That's true. Yeah.
And you already talked about who they remind you of.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be like, oh, you weren't like this, like my husband did this, or my husband did this, right. And you don't want to go with someone because they remind you of your husband either.
Right.
You want the qualities, but not the same.
Right.
So.
You remind me. What was it? You remind me. Mary J.
Okay. You had to sing a little bit more. I wasn't catching it.
I did.
Okay.
You remind me of a love that I once knew.
Ah, gotcha.
Was it a dream or was it deja vu?
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, no, we're going to entertain on all levels here. All right. So, Dakia, Eric, Ace, Cornelius, and Joy all go to a switch and paint.
No, they made it a switch and paint.
Okay.
So normally it's a paint and sip. You pick your art project, you have wine, but what's her name? Dakia thought she was like, okay, we're gonna really make this interesting. We're gonna switch paintings, and you're gonna have to start painting somebody else's painting.
Switch.
Right. And they were trying to switch seats. Now, you would do want to switch seats, right?
Right.
You're having conversation. After a while, you want to switch it up. So make sure every male and female get an opportunity to talk.
Right.
So, which it was her that pulled over Cornelius, right?
Well, first we see Cornelius painting his dead cat.
Oh, yes.
Pimp. Now, listen.
And everyone thinks he's making this up. Like,
he got a cat named Pimp.
He did have a cat named Pimp.
Yes, he had a cat named Pimp.
Yes. They showed the picture. I guess they were like, okay, it is not coming off genuine.
Right. Because it sounds like a stand-up bit. I got a cat named Pimp. Right?
And he's like, y'all don't be sleeping on cats. Cats are loyal. And he did. He had a brown cat
named Pimp.
And I'm like, hey, whatever soothes you and make you comfortable.
Because, you know,
I mean, he's a big burly guy,
yes,
right? Yes. So him coming to his door for dinner and him having a cat in his hand, it could kind of throw a person. I'm saying.
So yeah, and so I mean, but we were laughing also at the name, right? Which we get because my dog's name is Prince,
right?
And he is funky, and hopefully some of y'all catch that little hint there. But my favorite artist is Prince, and so I named my dog Prince.
Right.
Got him a purple collar and everything.
Right.
So for Cornelius, I guess his favorite person or whatever is Pimp. I don't know.
Well, maybe that's the ghetto side, like me being like hefty with it. Like if I gotta have a cat, he gotta have a name and that's gonna represent.
Now, if you walk with a limp, I can understand why his name was Pimp.
Could you imagine him during Halloween putting like a pimp hat on him and a little cane on his paw, like
a cat named Pimp.
What was the guy do the pimp call when they would do the pimp call?
From I'm Gonna Get You Sucker? Yes. Antonio Vargas, who like forever plays the pimp. Huggy Bear, yeah.
Yes.
All right, so
okay, yeah. So back to it.
So Joy is getting she feeling a little spark with Eric.
Right.
Now Joy y'all know she has a spark with Clifton.
Right. And we find out later on about Joy, and I'll talk about it when we get to that one.
But she's starting to feel some things with Eric. Eric, right now, the new guy on the block, is catching a lot of eyes as far as who's seen him so far. Cornelius is talking with Dakia, and they're having a conversation. And again, the conversation comes up about kids. And he makes a statement, basically, he was not sure about a commitment of a relationship, but wants kids. The sound didn't cut out. We're just trying to think that. We're just trying to.
So you need an egg donor? I mean, like
if that's the case, you're right. Yes, get a surrogate mother to donate.
Trust me, there's a lot of kids running around DC that need some daddies.
Right.
So he really don't need to create anymore.
Right.
There's enough children to go around.
Right.
And I'm just asking Cornelius have just a minimum commitment. Because we're not seeing from the dates is that he's want to show any type of commitment.
Right.
However you want to roll, but you need to make sure that this is a mutual relationship.
Right.
When you're saying you're going to bring kids into the situation.
Right.
Because
and granted, if he's like, I don't want to put a government title on it as far as marriage. Okay, I hear you. But he's got to be clear about he has to be clear about what his expectations are. If you're ready to love and you want kids and you're saying you want a relationship, what does that mean to you?
What does that mean
because
to you?
Most people are thinking, if I'm being a committed relationship, it could lead to marriage. And definitely if we want kids, it ideally from the start, our idea should be, or is maybe we have a little more than just, I like you to have kids, right?
Right. Or like, that's why I said even the minimum, like, hey, I want to have a long-term relationship with someone.
Right.
Now, does that mean for me Does that mean marriage for me? I'm not sure yet. But being clear on that that gives a woman a choice.
Right.
I think people want choices.
Right.
And if you allow me to make a choice, then I know it's my decision. That means I don't have to slash your tires.
Oh, yeah.
And, break windows because...
I bust the windows out your car.
Because I don't have an expectation that you didn't meet that got me to a point of anger, frustration.
Right.
Because I'm asking you specifically, you ain't giving me nothing, but then you want to give me something that's going to last the rest of my life.
Okay.
At
least 18 years. All right.
At the minimum.
Paul and Sabrina go on a date. And Paul's like, yeah, Sabrina be catching his eye.
Yeah.
Right. And she acknowledges that Paul is ambitious. He's a go-getter. We found out, Paul, you were the original Instacart.
Paul was the original.
Paul tells us how he used to go around giving out his number in the neighborhood, and people would pay him to go get stuff for them.
Which, again, there's nothing wrong with having
Can't knock the
entrepreneurs.
hustle.
Can't knock the hustle. So, because then you're saying I'm a provider.
Right.
I'm going to take care of my family. I'm going to watch out for them. And some of these women are really feeling him based off of the maturity of the provider.
Right.
But I think what they're saying is, are we going to have fun?
Right.
Like, because once you make all this money, where does the fun come in?
How can we enjoy
it?
Right.
And I think maybe he's thinking that, but he's not expressing that.
Right.
Because he can express like, hey, I know I work hard 9 months out of the year. But from this period to this time, I take so much time and I go overseas. I do this.
Right.
I think if he can show that side, then he's able to move or find the love he's looking for.
I think they're looking for the balance, because she makes a statement. She's like, I want more than a business relationship. So she's saying, look, the fact that you can provide, the fact that you handle your business, there's no question about that.
Right.
But what about the romantic side? What about the just hanging out, fun side, right?
But that makes you vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
When you have to show sides of vulnerability, saying that I can let down my guard and I can show you more than this one person or who I am. And that could be hard for any man to do, where in their mind, that's how I show my love. That's my love language.
Right.
But at the end of the day, if you want to say, I am ready for love, a woman got to have something a little bit more, But someone says they can handle what he's bringing.
So just finish up with Paul and Sabrina. He asked her, and I appreciate about this.
Very direct.
He's very direct. He's like, look, let's not waste each other's time. And so he asked her, could he make her happy? And she's like, she doesn't see him that way. She right now gets more of a friend / mentor vibe from him. So, basically it looks like, at least what we can see so far, that avenue is cut off, right? So we'll see, but he's around. So, and then on the other side of the Potomac, AP, Laverne, Demetrius, Paul, and Joy go bowling.
Yeah. Is that the one that go bowling? Who was on the... No, I thought they went to... Who did the DC tour?
That was another group. So they went bowling.
Okay.
And Paul got bowling skills. Paul is like, my mama was a 300 bowler.
Look, back in that time, my parents had their name, had the bag.
My grandmother had leagues. That was her. She would do leagues. After she retired from the post office and did all the other stuff she did, she had leagues. So I learned watching her, and she taught me some. I'm not a 300 bowler. I'm probably about 125, 150, somewhere in there.
Oh, you're a little higher than that. A little bit over 200.
So, but
I mean, we go every blue moon.
Yeah.
Every blue moon.
But they're all kind of hanging out there. Joy is flirting with she flirts a little with Paul, but more so with Laverne.
Yeah.
Very flirty with Laverne.
Yeah.
So there's something there. We don't see too much of the other folks in this.
In the background.
They're kind of there. So it doesn't seem...
They're kind of there.
in the background. But then the tour that you're talking about. So Sabrina, Wyatt, Tori, Demetrius, and AP. So AP is kind of all over because, again, they're getting her used to everybody.
She just knew.
But they go on a monument tour in D.C. So they go look at, the Washington Monument and Lincoln Center and all those fun things.
I didn't like it. I didn't like the setup. I think if they were going to do like some type of tour, it should have been like more of a museum where they're walking and talking, where they could have kind of like split up and come back together. But when you're on a
tour bus,
and there only can be 2 in the seats, and it looked like Demetrius was
like
the 4th wheel.
He wasn't even the 5th wheel. He was like he was the hitch trailer in the back.
Shut up, the hitch trailer. He was like, I'm just gonna be. He's like.
Because
it wasn't like he wasn't even trying to interact. He didn't want to even try to be in a conversation.
What we saw, Demetrius, if you're watching and you went after this is all over, we definitely love to hear from you.
Because Sabrina was like, you don't even want to try to like butt in and kind of get a couple words in or feel like, let me know you're still interested.
Right.
Since we have to be on this couple's date.
Right. Because even AP was like, oh, Demetrius, I would like for him to sit next to me. But you got Wyatt.
And Wyatt was like, I'm not taking any clues. I'm just going to talk to you. I'm going to share who I am with you because I'm just so ready to love.
Wyatt makes a perfect basketball player because he's taking his shots all the time. He's shooting. He is not he's not missing the opportunity to take shots. He's like, look, I'm gonna shoot my shot. Where if you put a woman in front of me, I'm shooting my shot. Shout out to you, Wyatt, for doing that.
Right, because she was a professor for 3 years. She's like, oh, he reminds me of one of my students. The man is 32 years old.
So she's already called one person, her brother, said he reminded her of her brother. Then now she says that Wyatt
reminds of a college student.
A student. Listen, she's already basically eliminated two guys, 2/5, 2/6, something like that, of the available guys,
right? That
we see so far. So, AP, you got to find something and look beyond just what you immediately see and get to the person.
And we have to. A lot of times we use a lot of. If we can discount people and say that there's just no one there for me,
right? Because
of whatever we went through, or we don't want to go through the experience of the new change, we'll find that, right?
Oh yeah.
Like, I have to get used to dating and finding someone. But if you say, oh, there's no one out you can say, I can be comfortable being a widow because I've lost someone I love.
Right.
When that's not the case.
Right.
You have to say, what can I find in this person that I would value in a relationship?
Exactly. Yeah, so for her, age is a factor. And so that seems to be the common thing for Wyatt. Well, for Wyatt, because Wyatt is, I guess Wyatt is the youngest guy there.
He is. So my question is, in the conversations, even though he says he's into older women, is he coming off young?
Right. Is there something that we're missing or not seeing beyond just his age, his the number, right?
Right.
Is there something beyond that?
Is he not handling stuff in a mature?
Because if we're honest, I'll be honest. For me, I think Wyatt, from what I've seen, Wyatt is more mature than, let's say, Tori, who last week his entire conversation was about punching kidneys. So
well, okay, hold on, let's back up. So just because someone may talk about sex more doesn't necessarily says they're not immature or young in mind.
I'm gonna have to disagree on that.
Really?
And the reason I say that is because a man who is mature and confident knows the right time for that conversation, first of all.
Okay.
They know the right time and place for that conversation.
Okay.
But 2, they don't have to impress you with what they say they're going to do.
Okay.
They impress you with their actions. So I don't have to tell you what I'm going to do. You're going to experience it.
So he should be a warning label. He shouldn't warn that what's to come.
But I'm also like, if you got to talk that much about it, that open, that honest, or that open, and in that environment, in my opinion,
it may not be all.
You're trying to set yourself up
Don't set me up for failure.
You might be over promising and under delivering. I don't know. I'm there's no way for me to find out. But that's just my thoughts. Right? That's the way if I gotta talk all the time about what that is.
But we don't see him talking all about.
But that's what we've seen from him so far. Because that conversation for me, and let me know. But that conversation.
Did he have the conversation with someone else though? We don't know.
He hasn't had any other conversations that we've seen. So I'm just going off what we've seen.
Right.
And evidently, what the producers thought was most important to show us about him was him talking to Joy about punching her kidneys.
Yeah. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Give him the benefit of the doubt.
But I want to make sure that we're not slighting people because we're saying that they brought sex up.
No.
And they had a conversation where they're trying to be flirty. You know what I'm saying? And just being funny.
Was that flirty? I mean, y'all let us know.
I don't know. I'm just trying to say, was that just his way of being funny? Like, was he, like jokingly?
Because, I mean, if we contrast that, let's contrast that with Joy still, but her conversations with Clifton. They're still flirty. They're still talking about spending time intimately, what have you. But there's a nuance and a dance there.
Right.
Whereas as Tori's like, I'm trying to hit the kidneys. So
Look at relationship.
I got kidney goals. I mean, so anyway, back to what we thought as far as Tori.
That's where we got. I mean, we were having a conversation.
Yes. So speaking of Joy and Clifton, they do go out on a date, and they, she got some fish or whatever.
So this is his fault after we see the whole clip, because he was like, he was standing over and he had came in her dish arrived.
Right.
Without knowing what she really ordered, he asked for some.
Right.
And she dished it to him.
And he's like,
I taste coconut. It's like, dude, if you know you got allergies, and it's a Jamaican restaurant or Caribbean or something.
Kenyan? I don't know. I forgot what it was.
Okay. But most of the time they use coconut milk, so there could be some elements in the dishes.
So it looks like Clifton's okay. He didn't die from it.
He didn't die that night.
But they had a good conversation just about being raised by their dad.
Right.
Both of their parents, their fathers passed away.
Yeah. And they have that connection there.
And she says, she's like, I feel comfortable and I feel safe with Clifton.
Right.
Which we don't know where this is as far as the number of dates they've actually had a conversation they've actually had. Well, this is their first date in person as far as what they said.
Correct.
But we don't know the other conversations. But for her to say this at this point, and we see that, yes, there's a connection that could be building there.
Right. And that's the point I want to bring up. When a woman's around a lot of men, and then being raised by your father, you tend to be comfortable with men, period.
Right.
So I can see how she's vibing with a lot of the guys without being friend zoned.
Right.
Because there is still her femininity and who she is.
Yep.
But if you're raised by a dad, you understand how to be comfortable with a man and who he is.
Right.
And I think that's why she's getting the attraction and men are reciprocating because she knows what to say because of who she lived with.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. So then the ladies all meet up with Tommy at the wine bar. And he's going around, okay, who's your top connection? So Ace is like, Laverne is her top connection. Right. She got hearts in her eyes when she was talking about him.
Well, the way he be talking about her.
Yeah, because he said she's Oprah, Beyonce, Jill Scott.
They might as well ride off in the sun.
And Michelle Obama. So that's who you're feeling. Joy, of course, is feeling Clifton. That's her number one. Yeah. Carmen is feeling Clifton as well.
And she says the same thing. Makes me feel comfortable. I feel protected. So then it puts like, why did his marriages didn't work?
That's the question that we hopefully will come out a little more. Because normally we have, you have a casting special where we at least hear some of this stuff. Right. We're finding all this stuff out on the fly as we're going through, right? But he's been married twice. So then the question would be what happened in the first two marriages. Yeah.
If it's on his end, it was just the women
he married. Maturity? Is it what, what? Because in some respects, that also can help to identify what may be the red flags, if you will, going forward. Sabrina is feeling Demetrius and Tori. Those are her top two.
Mm-hmm.
Precious is feeling Paul.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dakia was originally feeling Clifton and Demetrius, but she's like, Eric
has moved up.
Keep rising to the top. So, but then as far as who was the no's, right? Who are they like, nope, I'm not feeling. AP is like, I'm not feeling Wiley. He's too, or Wyatt, I'm sorry. He's too young. Dakia said that she wasn't feeling Laverne or Cornelius. And I think she's the one that said that her conversation with Laverne was a little disconcerting to her.
Right.
She said he kind of got really negative
right.
In her conversation. Ace is not feeling Paul. Joy is not feeling Cornelius and Paul. Sabrina is not feeling Cornelius. And Precious then interjects. She defends Paul. She's like, what you see as a problem with Paul, I see as a benefit. I see as a value with Paul.
Right. Because she says, this is what she says, that she could tend to be flighty. So he brings focus.
He balances her.
Right. Which is good, again, because there is somebody for everyone.
Right.
But at the same time, if he's not feeling her fully as his number one,
right,
then if he wants to see what potentially is out there for him, he is going to have to become vulnerable.
Yep.
Or learn how to do that. Some people don't even know how to do that.
Right.
So
yeah. So Precious, our two bottom guys, or let me rephrase that. Our two guys at the bottom of this week. You have Cornelius and you have Paul. And so Precious goes on her date with Paul, and she's like, I'm nervous, what have you, but it was probably best for her to have that conversation. And she tells him that the ladies are saying that they feel he's guarded. So there is the question in some respects of, are they experiencing the fullness of who Paul is, or are they getting the representative that presents himself as far as provider, provision, what he can do in that respects, but not getting the fullness of who Paul is as far as romance, as far as
because
fun, what have you.
You telling me, oh, it's them. Yeah. When you start saying the first person you can point to is not yourself, then you should question where you are. Because at the end, he says, well, maybe I need to evaluate.
Right.
Yeah, you need to evaluate. Because every time I go on a date with you, if it feels like an interview, it's an interview.
Right. Because if it's one person saying it, yeah, it's that person.
Right.
I am who I am.
Right.
But if the chorus of everyone is saying,
correct,
this is what we're seeing, this is what we're experiencing, then that should give pause to say, okay, let me re-examine how I am communicating or how I am interacting.
Right.
And so he, again, is open to self-examination, taking the feedback and seeing how he can, maybe, again, introduce himself in a way that may be more beneficial. So on the other side of town, though, Cornelius is meeting with Joy. And the big thing with him is that everybody got friend vibes from him. Nobody got anything romantic, and nobody got anything of where there was a spark with him in the dates that he was on. And granted, he only came last week, but in the interactions that he had, he interacted with most, if not all, of the women at some point.
But he gives this laid back.
Yes.
So the people who are just so laid back, just allow things to happen. In this environment, you can't allow things to happen. You have to move. And then when you do move, bring something to the table. Right. If you're standoffish, is like, I don't want to commit. Then you should have been at the bar. You should have been, at the party, at the nightclub, picking up women. Not at Ready to Love, when they're ready for, at the very minimum, a committed relationship.
Yep. So that was it. Cornelius, of course, is not considered not ready to love. Next week, it looks like we're going to have the infamous beach pool party episode. So, and 2 more people will be joining next week. So we'll see what happens.
Yep.
Anything else?
No.
All right. That's it this time. Y'all have a great one. Be blessed.
Peace.